The Golden State Warriors were able to sneak past the Rockets in Game 7, and despite going out in the first round, Houston still appears to have a bright future. They have multiple hyper-talented young players, and they might be in the hunt to sign a big free agent in the offseason. But the elephant in the room for the Rockets is Jalen Green, who simply couldn't find a way to get his offense going throughout the series. In this video, we're going to do a deep dive on the stats and film and try to figure out why exactly Jalen struggled so much. Now, I want to start things off by first looking at Green's 38-point performance in Game 2, because that matchup was a perfect demonstration of what Green's strengths are as a scorer. First, when playing downhill, Jalen has elite speed and explosiveness, while also having a sticky handle that allows him to sharply change direction. If he has the space to attack the slower footed big and drop, he's easily got the handle and quickness to cook them. And then off the dribble, Jalen is great at leveraging that downhill scoring to push the defense back, to then stop and create space behind the line. And when it comes to just shot creation, I think Green has a really effective toolkit off the bounce to create space for his jumpers. He's got a sticky handle, he gets great lift into his shot, plus he has really good footwork and balance when creating separation. We'll see him here slide the ball between and attack hard to his right, to then snatch the ball back with his crossover. And from here, he's got the balance to organize his feet behind the line and rise up for a vertical jumper. But despite Green being able to effectively create space for off the dribble threes, his percentages on these looks are nothing to write home about. First, Green is attempting over 4.5 pull-up threes per game, while making just 32% of those looks. And for all players across the NBA who attempt at least 4 pull-up threes per game, Green has the second worst percentage. Now, it's pretty well known that Jalen's a streaky outside shooter, but if shots for him aren't falling, that athletic slashing game should still be enough to keep his offense afloat. But Green throughout the postseason has been extremely ineffective when playing downhill. Again, Green is easily one of the most gifted athletes in the league, but in order to channel all that explosiveness, Jalen needs space. Obviously, out in transition, he's going to be really difficult to deal with, where once he gets a runway towards the basket, it's pretty much over. But that's also the case in the half court. Look how he's able to get this clean blow-by on the perimeter, and he's able to use all this space to charge up, to then lift up and over Green in the paint. But throughout this series, Golden State has been giving him little to no space to play with. First, in pick and roll, they've been stepping up and meeting him at the level, which takes away that straight line drive and forces him to angle out. And this is where I think Green's lack of strength and control with the ball really gets exposed. Look how Quentin Post is going to again step up and meet him at the level, and watch him simply slide and stonewall this drive. And throughout this series, Jalen has also had no answers for Draymond Green and drop, where he's been able to eat up all these rim attacks, plus he can sit back below the level to then teleport out and effect his pull-ups. But again, pretty much all this comes back to Jalen lacking the strength and control to finish through contact. If there's bodies between him and the basket, there's no real counters he has outside of just trying to force up reckless finishes. We'll see Draymond again here stepping out and meeting him at the 3. And once he forces Jalen to slow down and change direction, it's pretty easy for Draymond to bump him off balance and force him into a bad miss. So because Jalen isn't comfortable dealing with contact in the lane, many of his finishes are rushed and pushed out, where he avoids contact and tries to sneak up finishes past the backline defense. But that's simply not enough against the NBA's best defenders. Another way the Warriors have been able to slow down Green is just by extending out and pressuring him with the ball. And like we saw with his game in the paint, Jalen really struggles dealing with contact and staying on bounce. And this either leads to turnovers or rushed up shots in traffic. And this leads us to another big area of improvement in Jalen's game, which is going to be his pace with the ball. First, in pick and roll, Jalen is pretty clearly uncomfortable probing and keeping his dribble alive once he turns the corner. If there isn't an immediate shot pass or drive that opens up, he pretty much always elects to pick up his dribble and get off the ball. And this takes away his ability to make reads and force defensive breakdowns. We'll see him here cleanly turn the corner past Curry, but from here, Jalen needs to let the play develop. Adams hasn't even started rolling, you have Dillon Brooks relocating on the weak side, plus you have Şengün starting a baseline cut. If Jalen just kept his dribble alive for a split second longer, a clear pass is going to most likely open up. but he again picks up and gets rid of the ball, and Golden State from here can easily get matched back up. And like we saw with his paint scoring, Jalen doesn't look to seek out contact off the dribble, which makes it really tough for him to create angles and advantages once he turns the corner. Look how much space there is between him and Brendan Pajemski, and pods from here can easily work around the screen and get back attached to the ball. We can see a similar thing here, where Gary Payton is now stepping up and pressuring, but Jalen's initially able to work past him. But from here, Green should put his body back into GP2 and give Şengün more time to roll towards the basket. And this will force Draymond to either shift towards the roller, which will then give Jalen a clear driving line, or if Draymond commits to the ball, the pocket pass is then wide open. But Jalen prematurely delivers his pass, and Draymond can simply slide back in front. And that lack of pace was really apparent when Golden State decided to put 2 on the ball, where Green wasn't comfortable keeping his dribble alive and absorbing the double, which led to more standstill offense for Houston. Look how Draymond is going to step up and blitz the ball, and notice how long it takes for Green to pick up and get this pass to Şengün rolling, which gives Draymond plenty of time to rotate and get back in front of the ball, and he's able to force a pushed out fadeaway jumper. And that lack of pace was also very apparent in isolation. First, if the Warriors stepped up and pressured him, it was pretty easy to speed Jalen up into low quality looks, where it was either reckless drives into traffic or rushed up contested pull-ups. And while Green does have pretty good speed with the ball, his inability to switch gears and play with rhythm made him pretty easy to cover in open space. And the Warriors throughout this series were comfortable switching and letting him play one-on-one. It's just him and Steph Curry here playing on an island. And for Green, this should be at least a favorable matchup. But again, he's just going to hit the turbo button and play at one speed, making it easy for Steph to stay in front and force a contested pull-up. And I think this was low-key the biggest struggle for Houston offensively, because if one of your main offensive weapons can't create good looks against mismatches, you're already at a disadvantage. And that was especially the case for a team like Houston, who already had a below-average offense while Green was averaging 20 plus points a game. Now the next thing I want to go over is Jalen's passing. To start off with the positives, Jalen is a pretty unselfish player. Like we've seen, if he gets 2 on the ball, he's more than willing to make the right play. And that explosive downhill scoring can open up some different passing reads. First, if Jalen gets ahead of steam towards the basket and pick and roll, he can pretty effectively draw 2 and find the roller. I also like this read here, where Green hits this nice push cross to his left, and he's able to pull the backline defense up, to then hit Thompson cutting along the baseline. So if there's a quick passing read that opens up right in front of him, Green's more than capable of making the right play. But he does struggle in reading the entire floor. If he has to read the defense 1 or 2 passes away, that's when his playmaking really begins to break down. Take this play for example. As Green works off the screen to his left, he lacks the vision to feel or read Pajemski rotating over from the weak side. So overall, I still think Jalen Green is a super talented individual scorer, and at 22 years old, he still has plenty of time to improve. But there's still no doubt that his first playoff series exposed a lot. And while Green may possess some elite elements as an athlete, it was pretty clear that the playoff physicality really bothered his game, and that lack of strength really affected his paint scoring. And then off the dribble, Jalen needs to add more pace to his game. In pick and roll, that lack of pace prevented him from creating defensive breakdowns. Plus, he wasn't able to consistently create quality shots against mismatches. I think there's still a few things Jalen can lean on going forward, but this was still a really tough introduction to playoff basketball. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments who the kids should break down next. The kids here.